We have this lovely system here. And we have, oh God, this is a monster. This one here. Now, what we're going to need to do is take the computer out of this, put it into this case. Why? Because my home runs on 2 computers, but we want to make it one because this system is more than powerful enough to take care of what we need it to. But the shelf where it goes, this fits, this doesn't. So come along for the ride. Well, first thing we need to do, take everything out of this system. So, grab our handy dandy multi-bit screwdriver. Just a small generic PCI card because we run this headless. What that means is that there's no monitor or keyboard attached. We remote desktop to it, so it doesn't need to have graphics or big graphic card, whatever. So inline memory. This one has 4 slots. You might say, well, George, why aren't you using that system? Well, because the other system is a newer computer and with a better processor in it. This is not a bad system. It's an Intel. Has an Intel card in it. Again, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's older and it alone won't keep up. But the other one, it's newer. It will keep up. So on with the disassembly. And I only have 1 screw in. Not quite sure why I did that, but that's what I did. Now, power supply. I know we haven't disconnected anything, but some of it has already been taken apart because we weren't using it. So, very old power supply. Already came with the case. Should say what it's rated, but it's old. It's rated for another day. Take off the, unplug these fans, unplug that, the front USBs, that's going to be fun, and then the rear fans. Now there's 2 fans in there. both have their own separate connectors, which we will be able to utilize in the other system. Where in this system, we really weren't able to utilize it. Now, take the motherboard out. Oop. So I have a magnet screwdriver so you can pull everything off much easier. And we're going to clean up the case, see if we can maybe use some of the other parts of the other case in this one. This is missing a few parts. I know, putting my head in the computer and the way of the camera, that's like, no. I need to see what I'm doing. Probably should get a longer Phillips head screwdriver, but sometimes you just need to use your fingers. There it goes. Come on. Okay. Got everything in post there. And looks like we got all the screws. So this, which is a tote, which will be a bugger to take the computer out. This is a plastic post instead of being a screw, which helps keep it in place. And I don't really want, there we go, to tweak that board. And this is a T-Series TP43D2-A7. And it's really nice. It's got power and reset switches right on the motherboard so that you can test it. It's got just a regular BIOS, got 6 SATA ports, but one came off, and since it only had one drive in it, really didn't need to have that fixed. So put that there, take the drive out. As I said, this is headless, so we don't need a ton of components in it. But we're going to have to take this side out, just like we did the other. And that we use a regular screwdriver 4. And this is an older case, but it's in the basement. So, ooh, so it's this one. Yep. Okay, that's that. And spin that back around. There we go. Ooh, which that needed to come out anyway. So now the only reason we took that off is because we couldn't get to this screw here, which is the hard drive. And we're not going to reuse that. These will keep in only because they keep these two ports blocked. We're going to have to come up with something to block this here. We're not going to use tape here anymore on the back. Tape was just to keep the airflow. So now we have to disassemble the other case. Now, clean off all our screws. And grab the beast. Or the other computer. Oh, hi. Ha! Thought you were going to fall, but you didn't. What I do like about this case is it has these, you push the buttons, that releases the case. But the case is kind of bent a little bit. Pull it, and then it comes away. I got this case secondhand. It came with the rust, which was fine for what I needed it for. So now we gotta take everything out of this. We're not going to use all the hard drives. Probably use some of them. We have a nice 120 millimeter fan in the back, just to stop cooler on the processor, AMD. But what we're going to do, since I got a Ryzen 7 in my main system here, it came with an excellent cooler. We're going to put that on. We're going to replace this cooler with that other one. So let's start taking this one apart now. This one's not going to be as fun. So there we are. Pull the memory off. Now this memory, of course, is going back in. There we go. This is the pain in the butt part. But fortunately, we can look it up online, or it is labeled here, that we can know how to plug everything back in. Ooh, that's just annoying. But cooler off, unplug it. Let's check that side. CPU, still got the gunk on it. Disconnect that. Disconnect our front side USBs. Everything should be disconnected off of. I should have cable managed that. This is what adapts the Molex that fan built into the case, and that's how it's powered. And we're going to reuse, we're not going to reuse this power supply in this build. We're going to use power supply from another one. I'm going to use a little thicker screw head here to take off the power supply, because the other power supply we have is going to be, yeah, I know I keep talking in intermittent sentences. The other power supply we're gonna use is the one that was originally in that one, and it's 650. Well, this is 600. Not that this is by any means a bad power supply. We'll probably use it in something else in the future, so we're going to set that aside. It's a Thermalake TR2, as you can tell. Now, very carefully disconnect everything. Just everything that needs to go with this has to come out, and has to come out carefully. I don't recommend necessarily that you build a computer the same way I have. I did some no-nos, but wasn't going anywhere, just sat in one place. I didn't move it around. Everything worked out fine. All the hard drives still work in this system. We're going to reuse some of them in the other system. We're not going to use others in the other system. For these, because I only had 3 cages, but I have 6 hard drives in here. Don't worry, the heads are parked. They automatically park nowadays, so that when you're moving stuff around, it doesn't jostle the heads and ruin the hard drive. Just that. And that. Okay, so carefully check our cables as we pull them out. Before we take the power supply and set it away. We have now a bunch of cables, SATA cables. That's why you don't go jerking things around, because things get caught on other things and you end up ruining your cables. It's not really what you want to do. Here's our motherboard. We're going to take this bad boy out. And we can use the same screwdriver. Said the other board is really nice. I do like it has the buttons on it. They weren't useful because I wasn't using it as a test bench. So this one doesn't have that, but it's a gamer system. I think every board anymore says gamer on it. They say this system, it's a very good system. I want to make sure we got all our screws out. 1, 2, Always check to make sure you take your screws out. Because you don't want to start yanking on the board, pull it out, and find out that you left the screws in it. So we got that one, that one, that one. Probably some post somewhere, but I guess not. Nope. So, evidently not. All came right out. We're going to replace that the thermal paste on the motherboard. You shouldn't put one board on top of another. Why? I've done it many times and never ruin a board, as long as you do it carefully. Now, this is the fun part, is taking this thing out. Which this back plate actually doesn't belong to it, but everything lines up. There's only one thing that this board has, that this board isn't. That's this. We're going to cover that up so that it doesn't have any air movement going through. All right, now we have all our parts, our case, and we're going to take our hard drives out. And they are on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is keep the screws with these so that when I do put something else in here, I have the 3 cages, and so I also have the 3 screws that go with the cages, because these came from a different case. Had to get rid of that case, just in case. So, nice. Is that these have these shock cushions, little pieces of rubber to help with the reducing the vibrations. Since in the other case they go in sideways, we're not going to have that problem. Now the downside to the other case, there's no cable management, but we're going to have to make do what we can and hide the wires as best we can. That went there. So that's that. 3 terabyte. We're gonna screws back in. Fortunately, stop it. They go in the chair. we're just going to put the screw back in. Yeah, what's happened is those are no longer round. No longer round. What fits for these, it doesn't fit for the other regular screws that I have. But we're going to put that, put it back in the case. And the last hard drive, this one, if I remember correctly, should be boot drive 320. This one I only put 2 screws in. Don't have to use all 4. It's probably best if you do, but yeah, I wasn't planning on moving this computer around at all. And it just sits in the basement and does what it does. So, now we got that one out. Wow. 6 hard drives. Okay, since that goes there, make sure we tuck everything back in the case because we will be reusing this later on. This was the other hard drive. So, I wish it was that easy. Just snap your fingers, point at it, and it builds everything in the other case, but that ain't happening. So, put the side back on this baby and call this baby empty. See, what happened is I got this case secondhand, so the side panel here was already tweaked. I tried to flatten it out as best I could. I had to get another screw because it was missing, but it all worked out in the end. It's an excellent case. This case is doesn't say what it is, though. It's a Aztec. Okay, so this should be a lot lighter now. There should be and is are 2 different things. Let's set this aside. Bring back our other case. Now, since we're going to be putting stuff in here, we're going to see how to remove this case. Some of them you just jerk it and it pulls right off. Some of them, if you jerk it, you're going to break it. But this one looks like you do jerk it and it comes off, and it's not coming off, so it's not screwed on. Okay. Alright, well, we're going to figure that out. No, usually there's a little tab. You like pull the tab and it clunks away. Or like it has this little pull on the bottom, which normally if you push and pull, then that is what pulls the case away. But in this case, it's not what is happening. I'm a little perturbed as to why it's not, because it does have a place for a fan. See, this is the way these cable now, you just wrap them up and then tie them up. And hopefully we don't ruin these. It even comes with a little speaker. It's a little speaker, that's the PC speaker. It even says it on the back, it says speaker. Alright, so how are we going to take that off? Okay, now that the disassembly of the two cases is complete, we're going to work on putting them together, and that'll be in the next video. So come back.